How about now? Well, the chat's working. Well, no, that means. Oh, okay. So you guys. So I refresh the chat, and there apparently I'm live. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Um. Wow. I do not know what the hell is going on. Um. Interesting. Uh. Let me just fix something real quick. All right. So now I can actually see myself. JU. Oh yeah, chat. So, does this work? So, there we go. All right. So, let me break this down as far as I can understand. Okay. So, hold on. Let's go back to Friday. And it's relevant. You'll follow along. So, Friday, I come home and the Wi-Fi's down. So I was like, okay, let me go down to the basement. Now, mind you, it is pouring, it is windy, it is cold. Like it's been raining all day long. Because our basement's flooded once, my fear was we lost. We had water in the basement. So I came downstairs and immediately ran, to the wall of tech over here that you guys have seen before, and everything looked fine, was running. And I was like, well, this is odd. Why did we lose Wi-Fi? And so, everything's running, everything's fine. So I'm like, well, what the hell? So I notice the Ubiquiti power inserter that I have is the light's not on. And I was like, well, that's kind of odd. Maybe the power inserter just died. I mean, it's possible. So I reach up and I touch the box with and the cable with my hand, and my hand gets soaked. And now there's water dripping down, like from the cable, and I'm like, how the hell is there water in the cable? Like, how is there water in the house? Um, don't worry, Jeremy. I just got here myself. So, um, so the water is dripping down this cable. So I reach up and I move the insulation that is above my wall of tech, and the entire piece of plywood is soaked. There's water everywhere, and it's just soaked. And I'm like, well, what the hell is this? Like, wait a minute, what? So I, of course, at this point, know the issue. I don't know why I have the issue, but at least I know now what the issue is. And so I run outside in a driving rain, snow, sleet, storm, 50-mile-per-hour winds, freezing cold, like not a fun environment, just bad. So I run outside and I can't figure out, okay, so on my side of my house, there's the power meter. There's a couple connect like holes where wires come through, like the coax cables, and then there's a gap, and then there's another hole for one wire for upstairs, and then there's a gas meter. So there's four places where essentially water can go in, or holes, go in the building. So I'm looking at those things and I'm like, okay, great, maybe it's this one, and I see a spot where it's possibly coming in. So I come back inside, I go downstairs, and I'm like, great, the water's coming in from right. No, that spot's dry. So the spot that I thought water would come through, there was no water there. It was bone dry. So using reference points, I'm like, okay, well, the gas meter's here and the air conditioning line is over here. So I'm about arm's length from, one of those two units. So I'm okay, let's go outside. And so I walk outside and I like put my hand on the AC and I'm like this far away and I'm looking at the ground and there's nothing there. There's no reason why that particular area should be soaked. So I start digging around. Mind you, it's 50 degree, it's 50-mile-per-hour winds. It's cold. It's not a good environment to be outside. And here I am trying to figure out why there's water coming in the house. So I look down and I happen to realize that one of my coax cables that runs around the house is sticking out of the siding on the bottom at that point. And then I realized what happened. Years ago, I ran coax cables and I stuffed them underneath the siding, but somehow, some way, that had came loose, and the bottom piece of siding was completely loose along the whole track of the house, and it was basically flapping in the wind. And so, with 50-mile-per-hour winds, it's blowing the water up underneath the siding and coming in through the house. So I pull the coax cables out from behind the siding and I kind of push down, along the siding the whole way of the house. It's, I don't know, 20 feet, I guess, is the side of the house. I forget exactly how big the house is. And so I push the siding down, and, it kind of reclips, if you will. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's it. So I come back inside. Now there's no more water flowing. And so I'm like, well, let's just see what happens. So I grab my power inserter and I have a picture if my freaking computer will work because, that's just the kind of day this apparently is having. So I probably can remove chat for a second. I totally just realized it's on there still. Desktop. Program 1. Well, that didn't work. So there's my PoE inserter. You can see that that it's not exactly happy. And so water was literally coming down the wire and into into the box, which of course shorted, and yeah. So this is fried, and yeah. So hold on a second. So that started the adventure. That was Friday. And so it's a PoE injector, so it's not actually, nothing on the switch is okay or broken because the switches don't provide any power. So we fast forward to, was it last night? Sunday night, Monday night, one of the two. And Haley's like, the internet's slow because of course I got a different power inserter and it works. So okay, problem solved. Luckily, nothing else was fried. And these are like $20, so not a complete loss. So Monday, she's like, the new Wi-Fi is slow, and I'm like, what do you mean it's slow? It can't be slow. It's literally was just a power inserter. It's not a big deal. And I'm trying to do some stuff on her laptop to back it up, and of course, she's right. The Wi-Fi is slow, like horribly slow. So I, of course, go into IT mode. Okay, what could it be? Blah blah blah. Um, and I go to fast.com and which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do again, and so I was getting speeds. Now, this is not what I'm paying for. This is actually pretty atrocious speeds. Um, and so I was like, oh, okay, that's a little funky, and it's doing the same thing it does right now. Like, well, what upload? And um, current upload is 8.4, which is better than it was. But I was literally getting 100K for upload. 100K. That's what I was getting for upload speed. So I was like, well, that's not cool. No wonder the internet is shit. So I decided to go with the hammer approach, and I rebooted everything. Cable modem, router, switch, PoE injector. Boom! Everything lights up. Everything's great. Internet speed is back now. I'm getting 500, 600 down, which is more than I used to. I was like, great, this is awesome. That was what it was. But why did it do that? Never did figure out why it did it. And so, I didn't think much of it. Fast forward to tonight. Haley is doing a Zoom class for her business. And I come downstairs, turn my stuff on, everything's happy. I'm watching Keith on my phone. The internet's working great. I come down here, I hit go live, and YouTube is telling me I have no bandwidth. Okay, fine. Maybe it's just YouTube. So I go back to fast.com, and I have 100K again. So while I pulled my access point or my hotspot out, I said, wait a minute, let me just run over there, pull the power on everything, reseat everything, come back up. Now I'm back up and running on my cable modem. I'm not using my hotspot right now. And, but I'm still only getting like 80 megs down, but at least I have upload speed now. So I don't know what the actual issue is. I'm assuming it's Spectrum, but I don't know that for a fact. Um, and so I don't know where it's at, what the problem actually is. Um, One of the things I was going to talk to you guys tonight about was my pfSense. Over the weekend, after I had all those if Wi-Fi issues, I rebuilt my pfSense with Community Edition. I'm sure you all are familiar with the pfSense issues that were like Pro versus Community Edition. They wanted money, blah blah blah. So I said, well, screw it. I'll go back to CE. CE does everything I need it to do. I don't need the Pro features. I don't want to pay for Pro features. So I rebuilt my pfSense this weekend, and I'm thinking it might be part of that. But again, I don't know what's going on with that. So let me go back to the chat and see what you guys are saying. By the way, there was an outage, not a good formula. I mean, if Jeremy, I hope you're feeling better. No, I have not started the Lego build yet. The basement's still a mess, and I need another table. So, I have a table right over here that as soon as we get this stuff all organized, I could make my Lego table, or I may just buy another 6 foot fold out table to do the Lego stuff. Um, Doing the speed test by the stream buffer. Oh, goody. Yeah, I'm just getting over my sickness. It was not COVID, but it was definitely a head cold, and it sucked. Uh, so yeah, but interesting thing about the upgrade to PF Sense and was basically I tried to install it with a ZFS, and the thing would install, it would reboot, and it would say no OS. And mind you, this is a brand new install, like USB stick and everything like that. And I'm like, well, it installed. Why doesn't it take the ZFS? So I tried it a second time on the ZFS install. It didn't like it. I was like, I mean, it installed, but it would not boot to it no matter what I did. So I tried switching from UEFI to Legacy boot. That didn't fix the issue. I tried to go in and edit the UEFI boot menu, delete all the other options. That didn't fix it. So I said, well, screw ZFS. Maybe the ZFS installer is broke. And that didn't fix it. So, or sorry, that didn't work either because I was like, the installer's not broke. It can't be. So I did UFS. And when I went to go do the UFS, it was like, do you want to delete the 5 previous installs or whatever it was? And I was like, yes. And finally, after doing it that way, it took. So I could not get it to work with ZFS. I had to do UFS. And my cough is coming back. Hold on. So I guess I'm just getting over this cold. I was hoping to be better, but talking a lot today, like I have been, is apparently an issue. It's also dry down here. Um, so I reloaded PF Sense with CE version, and I was like, I'm gonna go reload the config file because, of course, I had saved a config file, and it wouldn't take the damn config file. Like it would just sit there and do nothing. And I tried different browsers, tried all different stuff. I think I reached out to Bob and like I mentioned to Tony and Joe, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like this is just ridiculous. And finally, after letting PF Sense sit with the config file loaded for 10 minutes, it finally said, do you want to reboot with this config file? I'm like, well, yes. But it took literally like 10 minutes for an 8 megabit file to get uploaded. So something is broke somewhere on my network. I cannot figure it out because PF Sense should not take 10 minutes to handle an 8 meg file. It could be my PF Sense box. It's the only thing that has everything in common at this point. I don't think the switches are the problem. I don't think necessarily the internet is the issue. But I guess I should probably test that. So, I don't know. It was just PF Sense this weekend, the internet, the network just all give me all kinds of fits. What? No, they're not, Bob. They are. Oh shit! What are they? Bob, where does it tell me that? Do you remember, do you know anyone know where you can where it tells you what the interfaces are? I didn't know there was a USB key restore method. What nicks are these things? I forget right now. It's not under interfaces, although it would make sense if it was. It's... Oh, come on. PF info? It doesn't look like it. The naming convention? The WAN is EM0 and the LAN is IX0. Where in the hell do you tell what NICs you have? This thing should tell you. And I don't remember where it does it. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the one is definitely Intel then, because yeah, I think they're both Intel. I really do. I don't think that's the issue. Um, hmm. Anyway, so yeah, so that was my PF Sense internet ordeal. That's what I think caused my issue tonight was that I just didn't have any upload speed. It's possible it's the provider. Kind of don't think it is. Um, could be my PF Sense. Could be my network. I don't know. The other thing I made changes this weekend, and I did change a couple things. So I'm not saying that I'm none of this is the problem. I'm just saying was I did a second XCP-NG host. I bought another DAC cable, and so I could plug both of my XCP-NG servers in, and now I run them in a pool. So I have two servers that I can move VMs back and forth with. Pretty cool. And so I was kind of playing with that a little bit just to kind of see. I was thinking maybe I'd make a video or do a live stream all about high availability and making things work in terms of two servers. Bob just gave me a link. Oh, that's to the USB method. Okay. So I did XCP-NG. I added a DAC cable for that. I added what else did I do this weekend? So I did my PF Sensory build. I added a second XCP-NG host with a brand new DAC cable from 10G Tech. All my cables are 10G Tech. And so, another thing I did this weekend was, and maybe, no, I don't know why this would be, I don't know, was, so my, if you're those who don't know, my TrueNAS box backs up to MinIO, or what I call MinIO. Hold on. So my Bob, can you send me that link in Signal so I can keep it for later? Yeah, a cough drop would probably help right now. Let me. I don't think I have one down here. Uh, Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get one. All right. So, sorry guys. This is one of those streams. This is just one of those streams. So, using a DoTerra Breathe drop. So, hopefully that works. Powie's gone. Powie's back. You guys are funny. So I just saw a question. Beam Networks. Do you have shared storage set up between your two hosts? I do not at this time. One of the things I was going to try to set up was to have some sort of shared storage between hosts. So speaking of Beam Networks, if you don't follow him, I think you should. He has a cool video on high availability Nginx, which I was actually hoping to play around with, which is why I turned on a second VM. I didn't have to use a second VM, but I decided to turn the second host on and spin up a second Nginx server. And so I was going to do basically follow his video on how to set up a high availability Nginx cluster on my redundant or dual XCP-ng host. So check out Beam Networks if you haven't followed him. Good to see you here. So anyway, like I said, my TrueNAS backs up to MinIO using S3 compatible storage, and but it was always 1 gig, and I could never reboot it consistently. If I turn the machine on, it would generally work. But if I rebooted to do anything, it wouldn't work. It would just crash and say storage not available. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It boots. What do you mean it doesn't have storage? And it boots off an SSD, but the storage from MinIO is a 6 or 8 terabyte hard drive. And that's what wouldn't boot or be mounted. So I was like, what is going on? This is just makes no sense. So I looked up the error message I was getting, and the second comment was basically, you're using the wrong path in FSTAB. And I was like, no, I'm not. So I looked it up, and sure as shit, in FSTAB, I was referencing the wrong hard drive, which makes no sense to me because it worked for a long time and it would boot, it just wouldn't reboot. So I was referencing /dev/SDA1 when I should have been referencing SDB1, but proper etiquette would use the UUID instead of drive paths. So yay, cough that one up to me being lazy. The other thing I was trying to do was update MinIO because it kept saying out of date. So I had to figure out all about how to use the MC admin tool, which I did. And so now my MinIO is up to date and it can reboot constantly. And it's also now 10 gig. Because when I bought my new 10 gig cables, I put them on the virtual host and I had one spare, so I decided to just throw it on MinIO. So now my MinIO is 10 gig, my TrueNAS is 10 gig, pfSense is 10 gig, and both XCP-ng hosts are 10 gig. So I have 5 10 gig connections. Basically, everything in that room is connected via 10 gig to the core, and then things like the access point are plugged in there, and most things are plugged into that core switch, except for a couple, like the Roku upstairs or DirecTV, things like that don't need anything more than 1 gig. So let's go back. Yeah, F stabbed you in the back. Yeah, basically. Funny, Joe. Yeah, I mean that was. I feel like that stream all over again. Not as bad, but I feel like we're like one step above that stream. And yeah, UUIDs are the only way. Apparently, I learned my lesson the hard way on that one. Um, so how many of you are here? I'm just curious. Wow, it said 19 viewers at one point. I don't know what happened to those people, but 12 concurrent viewers and only 5 likes. So please hit the like button if you are here. I would appreciate it. Um, so let's go back. Let's check on, just because I'm curious, let's check on the JAU. Oh, we've actually gone a half hour. Now, Joe's going to be like, well, you didn't talk the whole half hour, so therefore it didn't matter. But I'm just happy I'm here right now, frankly, because I didn't think I was going to be here when this internet stream, or when this started. So, uh, no, I'm not deducting for the cough drop. If we see your logo a few more times, might be the stream level. Um, no, I'm not dropping for every cough drop. Sorry, I'm not going to do it. See, still counting up. Anyway, I just liked your video. Okay, thank you. So, what else was on my list of things to talk about? Um, oh, so got to play around with Cloudflare tunnels last week. For those who don't know, I like Nextcloud, and I like to back up my files, and I like to have everything synced to Nextcloud and available so I can access anything else from any other website or any other computer device I want to. But I also don't want to expose it to the whole internet. But for testing purposes, I decided to try out Cloudflare because I can't access WireGuard VPN at one particular location. So I can't VPN into my house to access Nextcloud. So I have to basically make it publicly exposed. And I can't even do the way I want to do it because rules. So I decided to try Cloudflare tunnels. I saw the comments about, hey, they don't support large files. I thought for a second that was gone and old information. So I spun up Cloudflare and to my Nextcloud, and lo and behold, it worked. It was beautiful. I was like, great, this is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. Way to go, Cloudflare. And then I fired up the Nextcloud sync tool, and anything over a certain file size wouldn't sync. And I was like, this does not work for me. I do not like this, Sam I am. I do not like this in a ham or whatever that, however that goes. So I was like, well, screw it. Nextcloud or Cloudflare is not going to work for me the way I wanted it to work. So I also screwed up my Nextcloud install because I upgraded to PHP 8.3 and Nextcloud only supports 8.2. So I actually figured out how to roll back, which actually worked for the first time, well, ever for me. Like I had never been able to roll back or change my PHP version. Period. No matter what I tried, it didn't work. It would never work. So I thought I was kind of screwed up in this limbo world where I was ahead of Nextcloud and whatnot, but I could roll back. I did roll back to PHP 8.2 successfully, which was pretty cool. Ashley laughed out loud at the butchering of Sam I am. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are enjoying that. Um, wow, Joe. Wow. Anyway, uh, so oh my god. So yeah, so my next cloud, I tried Cloudflare tunnels. I canceled the whole thing. I destroyed the tunnel, uninstalled the tunnel program, changed my DNS back to the way it was. And then I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna figure out how to do this the correct way, my way, not through Cloudflare tunnel, not through sharing out, my whatever. I said, if Cloudflare tunnel can do this, then I obviously can figure this out myself. So because I use HA proxy on pfSense, I was like, why don't I just take and make HA proxy in the cloud and have my firewall rules in the cloud server make it so that only the 4 places that I go to can access my box, and then I would only expose my box to my Cloudflare or my VPS, and therefore everything is locked down, only exposed to what it needs to be. And then I thought, well, why don't I just go a step further and have WireGuard tunnel into that VPS? Then I expose no ports. And now, because HA proxy is running in the cloud, I've essentially made my own Cloudflare tunnel because that's all they're doing. Excuse me. It was good for a while there, but it came back. So I didn't actually do all that because I ran out of time, but I did simulate that. And can I just say that HA proxy, while it's a pain in the ass to get set up, did exactly what I wanted. It would forward to PFs, or it would forward to Nextcloud without any change in Nextcloud, which is a requirement because all the other setups, or what they were basically saying in Nextcloud, is go in and add this proxy address and go change this and allow this proxy and do all this and whatnot. But then that breaks PF or Nextcloud if you're local, and basically makes you go out to the cloud and come back, or make you use your proxy server, and I don't want to do that. So HA proxy doesn't require you to change Nextcloud at all, which I love. And so at some point soon, probably, I don't know, next week, maybe not. No, next Tuesday, I will hopefully have a special guest on my live stream. So probably in 2 weeks, give or take, I will be on. I will hopefully be setting up or have a demo of HA proxy in the cloud, doing what essentially Cloudflare is doing, but I'm doing it on my own. Oh, your head comment was was a compliment. Yeah, uh, Bob, he does work in TV. That is true. I do. I do. Yes, and I get, people may be like, well, why don't you use Dropbox? Or people may be like, use Google or use Amazon or use Cloudflare and pay for it or whatever it is. And you're not wrong. I could, buy the paid version and do it that way, but I think you all know me, and I don't want to pay for something that I can do myself, or I like to have control, so I don't like to just have somebody else's, whatever running and relying on their service unless I have to. And so when it comes to my data, it kind of is my highway, my way or the highway. David says he uses HA proxy exclusively, works so good and is flawless. Yeah, once I got past the weird configuration issues I kept having, which again, I'm no HA expert. It worked beautifully. I was very, very impressed with HA Proxy as a standalone service, not built as part of pfSense. So, did you see the pics? Yes, I did see the pictures of the production trucks snowed in and iced. That was crazy. I would not have enjoyed working in that environment. Snow is one thing, but ice is a different thing. Ice on metal, ice on the way you walk. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not sure I would have liked that at all. But I did see those pictures. They were making the rounds of my friends. Actually, one of the guys I know was there, and he posted some pictures. A techie named Sam, quite a ham, faced a data connectivity jam. He tried this and that, but his signals fell flat. Green bars he did not need. Not Greg Zig. That's good, Bob. That's a good one. Oh, that was Chat GTP? Oh my God. Haley was just talking about how she used GPG for one of her things today. Yes, I do have pride in doing things myself if I can. And not to get into details, but I kind of wish I would do more things at work by myself because not because my people are bad or like that, but just because we've had a couple incidences recently where it's like if I just did that myself, we would, I would have fixed this or that, or we would have saved money or whatever it is. So sometimes you just do it yourself or have your people do it because sometimes you don't always get the results you want. I'm gonna leave it at that. Cloud services save time, but I think you like the challenge. You're like the coupon ladies. I don't know about the coupon ladies part, but I definitely like the challenge. And frankly, I have a YouTube channel where I need content, so doing things myself helps to make content, good or bad. It's a way to get content for sure. Hi, Jason's Lab. Welcome in. I have not seen your latest fiber video, but I was meant to go watch it. I think of TVJ as more like a tech repo man. He doesn't go to the police. He takes matters in his own hands. That'd be, yeah. I kind of like. I like Joe's idea. Like, can I make that a graphic somehow? Repo Man's life is intense. There once was a guy named Jay whose data had quite a delay. Green eggs and ham couldn't connect. His Wi-Fi, it seemed, had a defect. Now he's stuck offline all day. Yeah, I mean, that's good. Was that Chat GTP as well? Bob is having some fun. That is funny. That is a good one, though. I like this one. Yes. I do manage people and things and do delegate, but I still do a lot of the technical work, some technical work. But the thing that I'm referencing isn't actually technical work. It's different kind of work. And like I said, I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, the coupon ladies don't have to do. Yes, correct. I would agree with that then. Networking vigilante. I'm Netman. Yeah, I do like that last one. You should save that one, Bob. Where'd it go? Yeah, this one. Can I copy that somehow? Joe just sent me something. Is that from Chat GTP? Or is that from, Joe? Can I share that? Am I allowed to? See you, Joe. Or see you, Tony. I read Joe and. Hey, Michael. Welcome in. Bye, Toro. Let me call up the graphic Joe just sent me because it's pretty good. I like it. Graphics 4. Source media player 1. So this is what Joe just created for me. So this is the tech repo man. Oops, go away. Clear. Doesn't really look like me though. That's funny though. This Chat GTP and AI shit is weird. I will say the if you saw my thumbnail, you'll notice that I actually am on it for a change, and I decided to try that because YouTube loves that stuff, apparently. And so I took it to Photoshop and said basically remove the background, and it did it. And I was like, cool. So that was made my life so much easier because I'm not very good at tracing out, the cutout. So it worked. I was pretty cool. The only thing I didn't like was the lighting, and I got to figure out if I can have it change the lighting. Not that it probably can, but it might be worth a investment of time. That was Chat GTP with the following query: create a short limerick based on greetings and about data tended. Wow, it came up with that. That's crazy. Yeah, no fluke meter. It does look more like time clock. Time clock. Yeah, time cop. Holy crap. Yeah, very Jean Claude Van Damme. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like there is no pocket protector. There is no whatever, but it does. He does have tools around him, and he does have some devices. So I mean, I get part of it. And if you were a repo man, you might have a gun with you, which it looks like he might have in his right pocket. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's definitely not me, but I definitely that's pretty cool. I am the destroyer of tech. Well, I don't like to destroy tech. I like to actually make tech work. So not exactly my thing, but 11 concurrent viewers. That's awesome. Glad you guys are all here. Uh, by the looks of it, from my PF Sense traffic graph, I'm still getting good upload speeds. I just don't know why it stops. That's really my issue is why does my traffic go down to 100K? Um, my IP address is definitely not changed, so I don't know, think it's the cable modem or the provider. Um, so let's check out. Let me check out the JAU, and I know this is not the approved JAU because I had left the stream for four times, but still pretty good considering that I had a hard time getting this damn thing started. Does PF Sense show logs reflecting the bandwidth drop? That is a good question. I don't know how. I don't. It doesn't really log bandwidth over time. Or does it? I don't think it does. No, I don't. It does totals over time, but it does not do. Like it doesn't measure. It doesn't measure the speed and keep a log of it. But I actually thought about that while I was trying to run around and get it figured out. I wonder if there's a way to do a speed test and log it because I would definitely want to keep a log of my speeds at this point because it's definitely an issue. So if you guys know how to do that, or if you have a suggestion on how to do a speed test every whatever 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and log it, I would love to know that because I might do that. Jay, your video production trailer video is a big inspiration for me. I wanted to say thank you. Oh, cool. Welcome in, You Step Productions. That's cool. I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that I was an inspiration for you. I am glad that you liked the content and joined us here. Tell me a little about yourself. I'm curious to know more about you, like where you're from. Are you high school, college, professional? Either tell us down below or hit me up on an email. I'd love to know more about you. Yeah, if I was monitoring in real time, they would, but I was not monitoring it in real time. Yes, I would need to ping something like a watchdog. Unify keeps the latency logs, and there's something really handy about blah blah blah. I use a Docker called Speed Test Tracker, and both Jeremy and Bob recommend it. Therefore, I'm going to have to try that. Oh boy, Joe, the picture you just sent. I'm not going to share that picture, but that's. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a interesting one. So speed test tracker is a Docker image. Well, I'm not a big fan of Docker. I don't hate it. I like VMs that I can back up and well, you know the story at this point. Is it Henry Wiltaker 3? Is that what you're who makes it? This program, oh, let me share this with you guys so that I'm not just looking at myself. This program runs a speed check every hour and graphs the result. The backend is written blah, blah, blah. It uses the Octave. Well, that's definitely interesting. It graphs it. It backs it up. Cool. I will have to set this up because that looks pretty damn cool. Cool. Oh, fine. I'll download your image. Why does it not? Oh, there you go. So Joe is playing around with Chat GTP and made this picture. There's your pocket protector. um, what'd you just send me, Bob? Oh, better pictures. Okay. We're gonna take a minute to mire Bob's traffic graphs because Bob just sent me this. So Bob has this for internet. Must be nice, Bob, to have internet that works. Sorry, I'm just looking at the traffic graphs going, well, geez, I wish I had good internet like that. Um, Now I kind of want to spin that graph up and let it run all night. Was it a dad? Was it a bad? What a dimple did. That's funny. Yeah, in case you didn't know, Bob loves the internet. He has two ISPs. I believe they're both fiber. One is like 3 gig, one is 1 gig, if I'm not mistaken. He probably has 17 static IP addresses and 14 domains registered to him as two. All right, I'm going to do something wild and freaking crazy if this works. I'm going to set up Speed Test Tracker Live. Assuming I can get on my damn VMware host. Why do I keep saying VMware? It's not VMware. Okay, this is interesting. I just opened up XCPNG to make a new VM. I could not do that earlier while I was having the bandwidth issues. Does that make any sense to anybody? So while I had 100K upload, I could not get XCPNG to run. XCPNG is locally hosted. Why would I not be able to get something local? Is there a loop? I hmm. An ISP just started offering 50 gigs. Holy shit. So Bob's backup internet is better than my primary and only internet. I don't know. That's a good question. It's not a switch loop. Can't be a switch loop. And I say that because I literally like I could see all the cables. There is no way that they're looped unless they go through a machine. Like unless the machine has a routing issue because no, I don't know. I mean, I could shut down my second host. That's new. Yeah, I mean, I shut down a couple of VMs and hosts that I'm not using. Could be related. Could be a could be a bad nick with water in it. I don't know which one it would be. You say loop. Could it be spanning? I mean, spanning tree's probably on, but I don't think this issue's that. Like I said, there's no loop that I can see in the switches. Any weird nick problems before you made it into your VM box? The only nick issues I'm aware of is that this laptop right here, even though it has a 1 gig port, only connects to my TP-Link switch with at 100. Everything else plugs in and does gig, but the laptop will not plug into this TP-Link at full gig. But that's just my laptop, and I'm not really too worried about that. And then yes, I've tried other cables. Um, could be a bad Ethernet cable. You know, the cable going from the modem to the PF Sense box is old. I guess it could have got something in it. I did notice on the Unify. What does my Unify show me? Because it was the Unify was showing me a lot of rebroadcast. At least it was last night. If I go to my insights today, okay, so my transmission retries are low at 12.4%. Last night, my TX retries were 30%. So they are low right now. There was a lot of them an hour ago, but I'm pretty sure I know why. Because I was shutting everything off and rebooting half the damn network. So yeah, so there was definitely a lot of noise earlier. Oh no. So the number of retries were at 29% when all hell broke loose. And started, yeah, at 7:25 p.m. the transmission retries were low at 8%. 10 minutes later, they had jumped to 24%. So I bet whatever is happening on the Wi-Fi. Well, that's only explained. This is all wired stuff. Like everything over here at my desk is wired. So that doesn't explain that. I got home about that time, a little before then. All right. Wow, I missed a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, come on. Let me go back to up. Joe's asking Bob about methodology on backup. Could be. Oh, I only have 5 gigs available, not 50. Sorry, I'm not making fun of you, Michael. I'm saying the provider only advertises 5, 10, or 50. There's an ISP that advertises 10 gig around here, and I laugh at them. I'm like, nobody needs 10 gig. No problem. I have an OTA stick for us in the north. Another. Can I integrate 2 antennas? Yes, you can. So, without going, yes. So the kicker about combining antennas, and you can do this. You can combine 2 antennas. Is the cable length from the antenna, from each antenna to the splitter, or in your case, combiner, should be the same length. And I'm talking about like go buy 2 6-foot pre-made cables so that it's exactly the same length. And then you want to put the antennas away from each other, like on the same pole, but 10 feet apart. So I'm gonna do this because we're gonna go down this hole. So hold on here a second. That's the wrong source. There we go. So, and I've done this before, so just bear with me. On a tower, I've done one antenna pointing this way, and I've done one antenna pointing this way. And this distance was, I want to say, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 feet. I don't remember exactly. And then we had a splitter, or a combiner, if you will, which is just a splitter backwards, mounted there, and we ran 6-foot cables to each antenna, and then ran one cable down to the ground. And these were 6-foot cables, if I'm not mistaken. And it worked like a charm, and it works to this day. At least it did last time I knew, which was a couple years ago. I drove by their day, well, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and the setup was still there, so I'm assuming they're still using it. But this will work. This will absolutely, you can combine two antennas facing opposite directions as long as they're in the same pole and they're separated, but you have the exact same length of cable. And why that is important is because the signals from different stations will be hitting, or the same signal from the same station will be hitting both antennas differently, and you want to combine the signals, not cancel each other out. So if you have different lengths of cables, you in theory would get one signal from here, and then you'd cancel it out because you would subtract it from the other way, basically. So you have to have identical lengths of cable, and the antennas mounted in the same plane so that the signal hits both antennas at the same time and then gets combined in a additive way instead of a like an offset or phase cancellation kind of way. I hope that made sense. If that didn't, please let me know. But yes, you can absolutely combine two antennas pointed different directions with one coax. Yes. So hopefully that answers your question. I thought maybe it was a TP-Link switch, but when I had internet issues the other day, the TP-Link switch was off. So yes, I'm not a big fan of the switch. I wish I would have never bought it, but it was cheap, and I wanted a 16-port switch on my desk. Maybe I'll put the Cisco. Maybe I'll swap them out with one of my Ciscos, and just keep this one for like backup. Because, yeah. Yes, the TP-Link is shady as shit. I got a TP-Link router for Christmas, and I returned it. It was absolute crap. Our ISP failures up here are usually because of some backbone issues. Yes. What do they call that? Digging fade? No. What is it called? Yeah. No, believe me, I've had my share of issues with water, killing ISPs, and being right across the street from our station one day. There was fiber was cut, and boom, we lost our feed to cable because the fiber got cut. So you definitely need to have multiple paths if it's important to you. It needs to be diverse. Low is still bad. I'm not sure what I mean by low. Oh. That's what I'm saying, but I don't know where it's coming from. Right now, let me go back to my Unify controller. I think that's what we're talking about, Unify right now. Let me go back to my Unify. So all my retries are on 2.4 gig. Like every high rate is on 2.4 gig. I don't even know what's on 2.4. It says there's 7 clients right now. no way I can show you this, but does it break down clients on? How do you tell and unify what's on 2 gig and what's on 5? Anybody? Can it tell me that? Clients? It's not showing me the breakdown of who's on what. I'm not sure what this is about. I only have one access point. It's only one. Look for errors in the switches. I think I did this yesterday or the other day. I can't get to my switch from this network. Why not? Oh, I think no, I don't. That doesn't make sense. Hold on. Stupid. I hate these these Cisco switches. I have to change my password every 3 months. It's stupid. And I want to change my password right now because it's being stupid. I just typed the damn thing in. Why does it? I copied and pasted the freaking password. New password, new password, new password, go. J. I'm not sure why that's not going to work. I'll check that out later. I'm not saying it's not a switch issue, but I really don't think it's a switch issue. Again, not saying it's not, but bad cable, weird STP. Draw an angry cloud. Who is that? I forget who that is. You didn't know that, Joe? I'm legitimately just asking. That's okay, Keith. I'm just glad you're here. Yeah, what did you have for dinner? Oh, I got a flawless explanation. That's awesome. Glad you understand it. I'm glad I explained it. Yes, the when the atmosphere changes and gets cold, usually channels come in clearer. And the other the other day, I did a channel scan and came up with 93 stations. I've never seen 93 stations on any tuner because I was getting 3 or 4 markets. Yeah, I think I was getting at least 3 and possibly part of a 4th. I might have actually gotten some of your stations, Jeremy. I'm not sure. Oh, probably. Your shirt is earned tonight? Yeah. Sorry about the mic clipping. I have a TP switch ticket temperamental. Yeah. Unify. Okay, hold on. Unify client devices, then filter on frequencies. Client devices. Client on. Oh, okay. Makes sense. Huh. So according to this, my 2.4 gig devices are a gateway device from Residio. I forget what that is. My living room Roku. My phone. Why is my phone on 2.4 gig? Well, it does explain it though. I got home and interesting. Um, the other devices are TP-Link smart switches, which are not they're not actually TP-Link, they're Casa, but apparently they use TP-Link's radios, and the Whisker Labs Ting device. What is the? Oh, that's the thermostat. I mean, I think it's that Pixel 7 because at if I look at my insights, and again, I guess I could show you this. It's not like it's super secret. Um, oh, stupid freaking passwords. Be secure, they said. Do it securely. Yeah, well, bite me. So here's so this was overnight. I was here. I was here. Notice it's during the day when I'm gone. It is like low. It got high. I wasn't even home at that point, and then wham! It just this is when all hell was breaking loose. So maybe that offers some insight to somebody. I don't know. Let's see what people think. Um, really funny there, Bob. Angry Cloud is Willie's. Okay. I don't know if it's less water in the air. I forget how that works. I think the RF just there's less interference. I think is when it's cold, the atmosphere is colder. Yeah, no, the dual antenna is awesome. Yes, it is. The AP is completely across the house at this point. How would you accomplish a live stream across 13 miles that is simultaneously through a downtown and in the mountains? My brain hurts when I'm trying to solve this. So is it a bike? Like, what's the what's 13 miles? Like, is it a track? Is it a race or is it um? Because there's several ways to. Oh, it's a running marathon. Okay. Do you have to be on site? Like, do you have to switch it on site, or can you do it remotely? Because if you can do it remotely, then I would say various um, live views or Dejeros or whatever uh, programmed appropriately for the amount of delay that you would need based on the fact that you're going to have great signal in a downtown and probably nothing in the mountains. Um, if I was doing that, I would, do that way. Or rent a helicopter and do a two-way transmit or 2 gig transmission back to a central point, probably out of your budget. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Um, uh, Michael says a straight trail path, not like a track. It's a straight trail. We also need to throw up on the screens. I wonder if I can fit a helicopter in the budget. Your total budget's 5 figs. I'm guessing you're not gonna get a helicopter in there then. Um, so Joe does have a product that could help you out with that. Um, it's a bonding solution that combines does the cool part of Live View is the bonding features. Mr. Net is a router that does the bonding itself, and then you don't need to worry about doing that. You could just use encoders, or you could have a single camera, uh, encode to whatever device you want, and then Mr. Net would bring it out to the internet for you via bonding solution. Um, it's definitely an option if you wanted to talk to Joe about that. I don't know that in your low 5 figures, if you can afford to buy one, um, but you might be able to rent one. Uh, you could also, like I said, you could if you're trying to do, but you want to do on site. The on site is, um, yeah, and there's, oh yeah, if it's in Portland, then that would be a cool thing. If your budget allows for some travel, I could be available. Just throwing it out there. Not sure what your budget actually is, but just saying. Um, I will travel. Uh, duh, 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 duh. But the on-site requirement creates a lot of issues because you have to get it back to a central point. Uh, This is a good. I could see why your head is kind of hurting for a second thinking about this one because it's very interesting. And part of me says, how straight or like how could you set up like relay sites along the way where you could have Wi-Fi that you could control to send it back? Like my brain is just like going into full mode here because if you could set up camera locations along the way and set up your own Wi-Fi network, then you could just encode and decode on site. Obviously, be better for latency. If you could you get a good internet connection, like a really good internet connection, where the screens are, because then you, in theory, could rent live view receivers and still do the backpack idea to the cloud and then back to and just decode it on site. Um, could be a good situation for SRT. It's reliable, and if you're not getting the best internet, could be a great use for SRT encoders along the way. Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing a lot of things out there. Hopefully, one of these will stick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like I said, so the Mr. Net router, because it does the bonding, you literally could just get SRT single channel encoders, encode your cameras, or encode the camera, send it to Mr. Net, and then have it go across the cloud, and then on the other end have Mr. Net do decoders. So you would encode the camera or cameras, send them out via Mr. Net, and then you would take a Mr. Net on the receive site, and it does do port forward, right, Joe? You said it does port forward. So you could have port forwards of your SRT encoders come in to your central receive site using a high availability, reliable connection. The Mr. Net router also supports a physical WAN connection, so you could have cellular and a cable modem coming in, and wouldn't even need the cloud. They let you run your own aggregation server anywhere. Well, I guess I was just pointing out the fact that if you were trying to get multiple redundant connections everywhere, you would need the aggregation server somewhere in the cloud to basically be the connecting point where you come up to the cloud. Want to have a picture? We can do a picture. Let's do a picture. So, let's just say we have, I don't know, let's just do a bubble figure. So here's a camera. I know it's really shitty. We have a Mr. Net device and they're red. So we take a camera, we plug it into Mr. Net. It does, 6 connections to whatever, to the cloud. The cloud is a circle. And then you would do another Mr. Net device, and it would have its connections to the cloud. And then you'd have its one connection to a decoder. Just gonna do I don't know. We're gonna do it a star for a decoder, and then you could have one WAN connection for high avail or for like, and then I know you guys can do this. I'm just kind of doing this for people who are watching who may not understand what I'm trying to do. So we got your camera going to, or sorry, this would be your SRT encoder. So this would be SRT encoder plugging into Mr. Net, going to the cloud, coming back down. This would be your SRT decoder, and you could replicate this, however many channels you have, and Michael, if you saw Aaron's video on the mini, oh God, what is that thing called? I want to say Teradek, but that's not it. What is that damn thing called? He just talked about it. Magewell, Director Mini. Thank you. You, in theory, could encode and decode in the same unit, which could be helpful. So you could, encode two cameras at once in the same place. So you need less routers. And then you could obviously do a return path as well if you needed to bring back a return path. I have no idea what it would cost to rent those, but I'm guessing you probably could get it in your budget. Hell, you could probably buy the Magewells and then just rent the Mr. Nets. But that's kind of what I would do. If you had to, or if you were thinking about it. Yeah, and your AWS is right there in Portland. We could absolutely do a group call. Joe is right. If you wanted to do a group call, don't like my paint illustrations? I think they're pretty good. Holy crap, it's almost 11 o'clock. Let's check on our... So this is like a 1.5 JEU, I take it, because I got to subtract from my other things, according to Joe. So I think we're pretty good there. $250 a day plus data. Huh. Well, Michael, how many cameras are you planning on? I'm just curious. Going back to this Wi-Fi thing, nobody was watching the Roku. The phone is here. Yeah, it can't be that, but like I said, I need to install Docker, but it's 11 o'clock at night, so I'm not going to do it tonight. I guess I'll do it tomorrow, or I don't know when. But I turned off a couple VMs, so I guess I'm curious to see, back to this. So going to probably go shut off my MinIO box, just go shut off some things, see if the problem goes away. So Um, they're probably correct. I don't think they're probably in the same. Well, you're not a client, so well, I don't know if Michael's a client or not. I'm guessing Michael's not a full time client. If you're a full time client, you can get some good deals or some cheap rent. But if you're not a client, then yeah, you probably can't get that cheaper than $250 a day. Um, if your budget allows for you to buy them, then you have them and now you own them going forward. And next year's it's profit or next event is profit. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. How are you all not sleeping at 11 o'clock? Um, yeah, if you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning, that's probably why. I wake up at 8. So I have an extra 3 hours on you. Well, sorry, you're at work at 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'm waking up at 8 o'clock. So that's probably why. Um, yeah, so I have 4 hours on you, of 4 extra hours of sleep. So um, let's just check out that real quick, and then I'm gonna call it quits. Uh, Michael, you know how to find me. Hit me up if you have any more questions. Um, who has meetings at 4:30 in the morning? Is that like because you're in the West Coast? Is that why? Because it's like an East Coast thing. Even then, it's 7:30 in the morning. Who has meetings at 4:30? Um, sorry, I'm not a mornings person, so um, yeah. So anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. Hopefully, you all learned something. Hopefully, you all had fun. It looks like there are still uh, 8 of you here, which is great. So I appreciate you all being here. I um, Joe and I are talking about doing a stream next Tuesday. I don't know if you're still available, Joe. We might just do a stream together. Um, but more on that later. Um, I think Tony, Joe, are you going live with Tony? Is it this week? Is it Thursday? I think it's Thursday. Um, I unfortunately cannot make it on Thursday. I wish I could, but Joe and Tony are going live. I think you're discussing Mr. Net. So, Michael, if you're wanting to see more about Mr. Net or anybody, go look at Tony's channel, Joe's channel. I forget which one is it on, Joe. I want to say it's Tony's channel, but I could be wrong. Um, it's not that I'm not a morning person. I'm not a waking up person. I'm fine as long as it's like 8 p.m. or sorry, 8 a.m. or later. Like I'm just not a yeah. I do, but not. I wish I did. I work where my college. I was curious. I figured once I said that I'm like I bet money he's doing stuff in different time zones. So yeah, so Joe's going live on Tony's channel this Thursday, and then he's going to join us next Tuesday, assuming things go better than they did today. Joe will be Joni talking about all kinds of stuff, his business, Mr. Net routing, all that stuff. So please go follow Tony's channel. Come back here next Tuesday, and yeah. So you all have a good night, and I'm gonna go to bed. Speaking of tired, so have a good night, everybody.